Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Train Simulator Classic. This is an unplanned, unannounced stream, but let's give it a try. I've been working on my Train Simulator controls, my physical dashboard here, and it's time to give it another spin. Since my last stream, I've been working hard on the physical setup. Alright, let's get ourselves set up. We've got our DRA set. Let's see, doors are going to be on the right side here. Unfortunately, I can't really control those. I'd love to be able to hit my door open buttons, but I can't yet. Some of these things work, some of them don't. We'll see what works today. Depends on the train too. Let's turn our key on. Don't have that yet. Coming. Let's get ourselves into neutral. Cancel our AWS. Our AWS did not come up. Why is that? And let's see what happens. That is a fault for sure. Double check that it's connected. Everything looks good back there. We shall see. I'm going to be checking my stream on Restreamio every once in a while just to make sure that everything is looking correct. As you can see, this whole setup here is just a little bit different from last time. I have the camera at a different angle. I have some more components here. You can't quite see my DRA right now. Let me see if I can fix that without ruining everything from that way. Maybe not. Problem is I'm also using my Restreamio stream that's slightly delayed to do this, which is maybe not the world's smartest idea. Alright, let's call that good for now. See what happens. We're almost ready to leave. Let's make sure we've got our headlights set up. We've got them to daylight. Just look at the front to make sure. No, that's not daylight. Daylight. Alright, cool. What else? No windshield wipers needed. Ready to go. Signal up there, we can just barely see the screen. Got two signals not working right now. Hopefully that improves. Let's pull our DRA, get into forward, and off we go. Speed limit is 15. Let's coast here. Good roll. Braking. Good brakes. Get back up to 15. We're just winding our way out of London Waterloo. Station that I love to look at from above. We're just speeding. 1 mile an hour over. DFD. I have my foot pedal for my DFD. I hope that drone is going to go away when we get away from this other train. Our 8-car train, no, excuse me, 10-car train is gradually winding its way past that 50 mile an hour speed limit sign we just passed. Soon we'll be in a 50. They're in a 50. Almost. 2 coaches to go. Alright, let's do this. Probably don't want to jump great to notch 5 for our passengers ride quality, but we're heading to Woking. We'll be there in 24 miles. Clear AWS. Clear signal. PSD. One of my favorite co-working spaces in London. Clear AWS. Signal. Looks down on the tracks between London and Waterloo, and I find that to be very cool. Sit there all day and watch the train. This feels too fast for these tracks. AWS. Clear signal. We're winding our way west across South London. Heading on the Portsmouth Direct Line today. Portsmouth line. There's a 60 limit right there. Excuse my hands being in the way of seeing the air gauge here. That is something we will no doubt figure out how to resolve by putting the camera up higher for a future video. Gotta figure out what's going on with my AWS Sunflower here, if it just started in the wrong state, or if there's something up with it. But we'll use the screen to shake that out. Vigilance. Surprised the vigilance is going off even when I have just changed speeds. Set yellow up ahead for us, we will see. 60-mile-an-hour limit still. Nope, we have a clear signal. Clear AWS. Have a nice variety of trains going in and out here in different liveries. Very nice. Clear AWS, clear signal. HUD says there's a speed limit decrease to 50 coming up. I don't see a sign for it, which I would prefer to do it by. So let's just bring this down ourselves. That'll do it. Then some. Frame rate is suffering here. Looks like Clapham Junction right here. This is exactly what it was. Now we can get the speed back up to 75. We gotta hit a caution signal somewhere so I can see what's up with my AWS. And my signal button for that matter. The circuit board for it is powered on. But I did spend some time working on that board recently, so you never know. Phase break. Wait, pretty sure I just saw a phase break sign, but this is third rail territory. I guess you can have a third rail phase break. Wait, no you can't, because it's DC. I don't know what I saw. There it goes. Clear signal. Vigilance. Yeah, so I have a pedal down on my right foot that I'm using for vigilance. Not a full width pedal like you might expect to see on a Class 800 or something, but a single foot pedal. We're getting to that 75, so let's move off the power. Clear AWS, clear signal. Got a few trains parked up over there. I don't have terribly much commentary to share today. I wouldn't mind focusing on trying to get as good a score as I can today. But I will try to interject a few updates on how my whole physical train simulator controller is going. I do have a major success to report and record. Yesterday, I purchased for myself the Power Brake controller from a Class 365. Yes, an actual Power Brake controller from a 365, networker style handle, key switch, off, neutral, forward, reverse, power positions, brake positions, all that good stuff. It's going to be a little bit of a job to disassemble it and ship it from the UK to America, reassemble it and integrate it into my train simulator setup. But that will be part of the fun. Then I'll have a nice Power Brake controller right here on my left hand, just like a real train. I think my biggest update to share, other than these beautiful laser cut panels here that my good friend Geekboy1011 worked with me to create on his laser cutter, is that I've decided that for my first full revision, I'm not going to try to replicate the Class 800. My goal was to make a cockpit, dashboard, cab, whatever you want to call it, that as closely as possible precisely replicated a Class 800, 801, 802 IET, Intercity Express train. And Mr. Geekboy has convinced me that it's not necessary to go to that length for the first version. One of the concerns, of course, is that I live in an apartment and I have limited space. Didn't catch that the first time for some reason. The other reason is it will take significant engineering to get to that level of detail. I have done a lot of the preliminary work to get the precise measurements of a Class 800 cab just based on 3D modeling and screenshots of train simulator and photographs of real-world Class 800s. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to get my hands on a real Class 800. Even to measure the cockpit. I thought, I can go to the Railway Museum at York because they have a Class 800 cab there. But alas, I looked at some photographs before sending or requesting that somebody go there and take measurements for me. And it looks like they have the entrance closed off with a piece of plexiglass, so you can't actually go into the cab and touch the controls and measure them. Alas, alas and alack. Get ourselves up to 80. So I have to do my best with educated guesswork, evidence-backed guesswork. However, Geekboy 1011 and I discussed, and I decided that I will try to do something a little bit simpler for my first version. Instead of precisely replicating all the instrument positions and distances between them and all that good stuff from a Class 800, I'll use that as a guide for creating my own train cockpit that's slightly simplified and contains, number one, instruments that Train Simulator actually knows about, and a layout that actually can be compressed down a little bit. I'm not as familiar with the Portsmouth line as, for example, the East Coast Main Line or the London to Brighton line, so I am not calling out landmarks quite as well as I might on those lines. But I'll have to do a little route learning and see if I can't do that next time. Clear AWS. We've had clear signals all the way so far. We are currently estimated to be on time for our arrival at Woking at 8:23. There's our 90-mile-an-hour limit, clear AWS, clear signal. So momentarily I will notch us up to 90. Still have another 12 miles to go to Woking. I don't recall if in my previous stream I talked about the vigilance device, the pedal on my right foot. In most UK trains, to my knowledge, this pedal operates differently than the Deadman on a similar US locomotive. My understanding is that US locomotives, you must keep the pedal depressed, and that is what prevents the Deadman from kicking in and putting you into emergency. The downside of that is you could put a backpack or a brick on it, fall asleep, and crash. So these UK trains have a vigilance device that you have to hold down most of the time. If you let go of it, you will go into, for a certain period of time, you'll go into emergency. But you also can't just hold it down all the time. You have to periodically release it and push it down again. So every time those high-pitched tones sound, it's telling me I need to lift my foot and then depress the pedal again. And that is what I'm doing in real life with my real pedal. Previously, I liked to play with the AWS on, and I really couldn't easily deal with having the vigilance device on. I suppose I could do it from the keyboard, but that's not as fun. Now that I have a physical pedal connected to one of my CAN bus circuit boards that all network together to provide the instruments to my computer, I can actually have a pedal. Just under 9 miles to Woking. Check the operation of my good AWS button is working. Just in case. Oh, I knew that actually, because I had to cancel the AWS self-test when I first left the off position. No stream messages so far, but that's expected. I didn't mention that I was going to be doing this stream to anyone. Normally I announce to the denizens of Chemetech that I'll be doing a stream. We have a bright and mostly sunny summer morning in the UK. 8:17 a.m. Third rail territory as we head from Waterloo to Portsmouth. We have a unit number here. What's your unit number? It's not written down here. We'll have to look outside. 444010. We're speeding. I caught before Train Simulator got angry with us. It just takes seconds of going out of the cab to start speeding. Clear AWS, clear signal. Sorry that my knuckles continue to be in the way of the air gauge. I see that you can just see the bottom of my monitors when I Alt-Tab to Restream out. It's not perfect. It's not the end of the world. We're going to be 3 seconds early to Woking, so I got to make sure I stay as close to the speed limit as I can. As you may know, train schedules are often built with the speed limits of the line in mind. I'd say universally built with the speed limits of the line in mind. Namely, especially on these commuter lines on dedicated rails that are not shared with any freight or anything. They give you timings to stations that are achievable, but you have to stay very close to the speed limits the whole way in order to achieve them. Another 4.5 miles to Woking. Usual disclaimer, while I've gotten a little bit better about UK place name pronunciation over the years, as I have spent more time in England and more time with British English speaking folks, but I am far from perfect, and I apologize for any names that I mispronounce. Yeah, so more news soon about what kind of layout I actually pick for my Train Simulator controls. I've done a little bit of prototyping in cardboard. I obviously have some prototyping in wood now, and I'll likely do some more prototypes in both before finalizing the design. At the very least, I will likely make a full cardboard setup of what I'm thinking. Not only to see what it looks like from a Train Simulator control perspective, but also to do a little bit of layout experimentation with how I can put things away so it's not out all the time. Make it as modular as I can for easy disassembly when I'm not using it, easy disassembly if I ever need to move it, when I need to move it. Miles to Woking. Again, since I'm not overly familiar with this route, we have a cautionary aspect ahead. I don't know exactly when to start slowing down for stations. Let's see if our AWS Sunflower trips. Yes, it does. Very good. Also, the mechanical sound it makes, I see, is a little bit muted by having it screwed into a piece of wood. Interesting. Not silenced by any stretch of the imagination. That was a speed warning, by the way. I should probably heed it and start slowing down. I think that's a speed warning. Where's that station? 3/4 of a mile to the platform. Do 50% braking and see where that gets us. We are diverging. That's what our speed is coming down for. Got to get down to 40. Which we're easily going to do, so I'm going to lay off the brakes. We're going to take a left diverging point. 42, got to drop another 2 miles an hour. There we go. AWS is cleared on us. Take the points right at speed. And resume bringing the speed down for the station. These brakes are pretty good. If we have a 10-car train, we likely have to go to the end of the platform. I don't know if y'all can see my air gauge and the fact that it is moving when I make a brake application. Where's our S-car? Huh. The 8 was back there, so I thought there would be a 10 here. But nope. There's... Is that an S there? Hard to see. Huh. Well, I don't know. That's strange. Let's just stop here. We're a little bit late. And I can't do this much as I want to. Doors. At least they light up. You can see they momentarily light up. By the way, I normally not use 2 hands for that, but this is not supported by anything, so I can't just give it the 2-finger activation there. Did I miss a 10-car board somewhere? There's a 6-8 back here, and I also want to be on time here. 10 minutes bonus, we didn't get penalized for that. Yeah, there was a 6-8 there, there was no 10. Nothing from the guard? Oh well, up we go. Notch 1, we're leaving under a cautionary aspect. Probably should have pulled my DRA for that, but I could see it right in front of me. I gotta double check the rules if it's any cautionary aspect or only a stop aspect. Now we can't go roaring off here. Can't quite tell which of those signals is mine, but it could be a... What do we have there? Do we have a diverging? We have a diverging, it looks like. This is going to be AWS. Yeah, we've got a diverging left. Next stop, Guildford in 6 miles. Got a 40 limit coming up for the diverging. I guess I should get up for that 40. Once we diverge, we can go up to 90. I'm using the on-screen train simulator speedometer, which I aim to avoid. I want to use my actual physical speedo here. Let's see, I think my train is not clear to 90 yet. Maybe now. Not quite. There we go. Notch 5 and head to Guildford. Miles. Estimated to be on time. AWS is still set, by the way, so I do want to not get too carried away. Our last signal was a preliminary caution, 2 yellows. So I know I'm not going to run straight into a stop signal. I assume that was the speed limit for the diverging switch, but you never know. There could be a train right in front of us. Nope, I think I see a clear signal. $70 for 90. AWS is cleared. Clear signal. 75 for 90. Clear banner repeater. Clear AWS, clear signal. 88, we're almost at 90. 89. Power down a little bit. See if we can just maintain our speed. I can't wait until I have an actual handle instead of pressing keys. Clear AWS, clear signal. Also, to close the loop on my earlier musing, obviously you can have a third rail gap between adjacent substations. We're slowing down, we must be going uphill. But it's not rightly called a phase break because DC does not have a phase. It is 0 hertz, and a flat line does not have a phase. Huh, that took 3 times. We appear to be going down a hill. I'm not sure why we're losing speed. There we go. Still going to be early to go for it in less than 2 miles. Let's keep an eye on that speed. Clear AWS, clear signal. The HUD tells me we're going to hit a 50 limit. And then at the end of the platform at 25. I suppose we should start. There it is. And there's the board for the 50. Since my last stream, I think it was since my last stream, I learned that you need a speed limit reduction of at least 1/3 for there to be a warning board, which often corresponds to an AWS warning as well. Slowing down a little bit more aggressively than we need to, but better safe than sorry. There's the 50. We also have to stop for the platform, so let's keep bringing that speed down. See, I would call this a 25-pound reduction based on my gauge here. So we're going way too slowly. What would be the correct British terminology, especially since most of these gauges in the actual trains measure in bar rather than PSI. Where's our 10 car? 3, 4, 5, 6. Is this going to be another missing sign? Nope, there's 810 up there. We're going to get a clear AWS before we get to that. There we go. That'll do nicely. Feather off that brake. And open the doors. Welcome to Guildford. I'm tempted to pull my DRA just to remind myself of that 25 mile an hour, but that is not practice, so I'm not going to. Just got to remember we're going to be hopping immediately into a 25 limit for that interlocking ahead of us, if we can call it thus. I don't know how accurate Train Simulator's simulation of various things is here. For example, the vigilance should not go off if I put myself, is my understanding anyway, if I move my brake to full service and then I go to neutral and I let go of my vigilance pedal, I think we should be okay. Hello, train. I recently watched a couple of great videos on YouTube from LNER where they had a real LNER driver that works with Class 800 Azumas. Gonna put my pedal back on, put it back into forward, and start releasing the brake. Play Train Simulator on console with a controller. guard. There we go. It's very sorry, let me finish one story before I start another one. And she was great. I learned a lot from her, both about operation of the Class 800s, operation of UK trains in general, and about the route that they have in Train Sim World along the East Coast Main Line now. It's a relatively short stretch, unfortunately, but better than nothing. The additional thing I was going to add is that, unfortunately, different trains in Train Sim Classic have different support for external hardware. I almost get the impression that what they support is designed more for what things the player can actually press in the game and can interact with that way, rather than expressly designed for external hardware, like the rail driver, which is what was originally meant to work with Train Sim Classic. So for example, this train, I think I discovered, doesn't actually have an interface to let me press the signal button, the guard signal button that makes the buzzer for the guard make noise. Whereas other trains, it does work now. I even have a little printout of what controls are available for each train in my software that I've written for this, so that I can keep adding train types one by one to my software. I'm given to understand that other folks who have worked on alternatives to the rail driver that are more like real controllers, like Alan Thompson, have also built software that has different settings and different support based on which train you're operating. 85 limit. Back to 70, or rather, there, 85. Haslemere in 11.25 miles. 85 limit, 71 on the speedo. Whistleboard. $77 out of 85. Clear AWS. Clear signal. 82 for 85. Let's start bringing the power down. We've got a 70 limit coming up, so let's bring the power way down. So let's put it in the negatives. See, because that reduction from 85 miles an hour to 70 miles an hour is less than 1/3 of 85. No warning word is necessary, so you just got to know about those. Did I miss a whistleboard? Because there was a grade crossing there. Level crossing, to use the proper terminology. Now we have a 60 coming up. Keep reducing that speed. This time we get a warning. 60. See, that's an odd one. I wouldn't expect that one, based on the rules I now am familiar with. If I'm mistaken about the rules, please let me know in the comments. I have had no formal training as a UK train driver whatsoever, and if there's things that I am incorrect about, I would very much prefer to be correct. 60 for this tight turn as we go through. Oh, do I want to try that one? Godalming? Godalming? I'm sure that's a complete butchery. Godalming. I do not have a strong belief in the correct pronunciation. If you know, let me know. Heading back up to 75 from 60. 8 miles till Haslemere. 80 limit when the train passes that sign. Clear signal. Clear AWS. 68 for 80. Six. Here, AWS. 85 limit. And we're good for it. For 85. 6 miles to go. Ooh, nice super elevation action. Train Sim World, to my knowledge, still does not have support for external hardware like this. As I've said in previous videos, I intend to lobby them for support once my particular setup gets a little bit further along. Until then, I will have to stick with Train Sim Classic. In fact, in the last few days they announced Train Sim Classic 2024, which suggests to me that they have rethought their plans for gradually sunsetting support for Train Sim Classic. They had renamed Train Simulator 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, etc. to Train Sim Classic with no year after it. We're about to start skating as we go down this hill. And they appear to have reversed that and started adding the years after it again, which is, I hope, a good sign. I hope a good sign for the future. Because I would very much like to be able to continue using this setup as long as possible. There's a much longer routes, and in my opinion, much more immersive. Well, immersive is not the right word. I can make it more immersive. For myself, at least. For 3.5 miles to Haslemere. We're going a little bit slowly, but we'll still be on time. I've discovered an increasing number of videos that exist on YouTube of drivers I've used in the UK, which I am very pleased with. Those are much harder to come by for US-based trains. So thank you. Thank you to the UK train companies, thank you to the UK train drivers who make these things possible. I know it's something that could potentially have much red tape involved, but being able to not only look out the front windows of real UK trains as they go along, and get a better sense for some of these routes in real life as a driver rather than just a passenger. And also in the cases where the video posters or the drivers themselves and information and commentary, it is very helpful for folks like me who want to learn to drive these routes. 84 miles an hour, 1.5 miles to Haslemere. Let's coast and think about our speed. We've got a mile and a quarter to the end of the platform, a mile to the beginning of the platform. It's amazing how slow this feels to me for over 75 miles an hour. Just that driver's eye perspective. Alright, let's bring that speed down. Pretty aggressive, actually. Not that aggressive. That's too much. As I've said in many previous streams and videos, if I played with these trains more often, let me rephrase that. If I drove each of these train types more often, if I drove each of these routes more frequently, I would have a better intuitive sense of the braking capabilities. Each of these trains, where in the routes I need to start slowing down, what speeds I should be hitting at what points and landmarks, etc. But alas, I don't. So I don't. 10-car train. We're looking for the 10-car stop. AWS is clear, signal is clear, but hopefully that will not concern us for now. Where's our 10-car? There's a 10-car right at the end of the platform. Sorry if I got in your way just now. Because, of course, squinting at my screen slightly closer is going to make that 10-car marker visible. We are well on time. We're a minute early. Open those doors. No particular reason we would have to set the DRA, so we won't. My phone is buzzing in my pocket. If I was doing this properly, I would have my phone turned off, or at least in another room. I assume UK train drivers have the same requirements as American train drivers, that their cellular telephones must be off and stowed for the duration of their time in the locomotive. If not for their entire shift, I'm not sure exactly what those rules are. Hello, train. I have very mixed feelings about that livery. Scenario complete. 988 points. 8:46 a.m. Well, since I'm leaving the train, let's ceremonially hit our DRA. I was trying to pull it. See how we did. I think I heard a Steam notification there for an achievement of some sort. Let's see what it is. Unlocked an achievement, PDL London Waterloo to Portsmouth, on our way. 988, got my gold star, 312 XP gained. The only thing I got dinged for was 2 very brief instances of speeding. I thought I only had 1, but that's not bad at all. Not bad at all, 2 miles over in each case. And that is the London Waterloo to Portsmouth line. Let's see what we got here. It's the time that it is in the real world. See if anybody showed up on stream. No messages. Looks like we've got possibly somebody watching on Twitch. Hello, person on Twitch, if you are indeed joining me. Almost feel like doing one more. Should I do one more? Or should I call that a successful stream? You know, I'm going to call that a successful stream. Thank you, everyone. If you're watching this during the stream or afterwards, I appreciate your presence and your attention. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments, feedback, questions, please feel free to post in the comments. You can find information about my train simulator setup in progress at z80.me, z80.me, z as in z80.me. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next stream or the next video.